Hey Bookaholics, so welcome back to another video. Today I am bringing you my June wrap up. In the month of June, I read loads of books, I did lots of vlogs, and I also was traveling for the latter 2 weeks of the month. I had 2 book clubs, and basically it's been a very packed month. There's been a lot. Let's quickly get into the books because otherwise we're going to be here all day. I'm going to start with the book clubs. My 2 book clubs that I am running throughout the summer. First of all, we have my series read along, which is for the Soldier Son trilogy by Robin Hobb, and this series is one that we are reading bi-monthly. So we have for April and May, we had book 1, for June and July we have book 2, and for August and September we have book 3. This is the book that I did originally DNF back when I first tried to read this series, so I am rather hesitant about it. I didn't read it in the end in June, so this is going to be rolling over into July, so I will talk to you more about it in my July wrap up. The other book club that I am running is my sci-fi book club that I am running throughout the summer, and for the second book of the vlogs, which was my June pick, we had Terraformers by Annalee Newitt. I do have a spoiler vlog for this on its way. If not, it's already out. I can't remember when it's scheduled for, but the book pick was Terraformers, and it is the one that I was initially inspired to start my Orbit Recommends series from, because it is where I saw that it had some desperate glory in the back. So I do have a dedicated spoiler vlog to this, but I ended up having quite mixed feelings about this book. Like many sci-fis, it's not one where you have much of an emotional investment with the characters, which I am fine with because I'm mostly a themes girly. So if the themes are well presented, I don't really mind if the characters are merely a vessel for it. My problem is that I also had issues with some of the themes. I had questions about the way some of it was presented, and I also really would have liked further discussion and further exploration, and I genuinely think this could have benefited from being a series. While that's not the intention of the book, and that is entirely fine, it just felt like I didn't connect with the characters enough, but also the themes weren't strong enough for it to be like a new favorite book or one that I would highly recommend. I would still be inclined to recommend it if it is a book that you are interested in. This is basically following the existence of a planet that has been colonized. Initially in the first section we have it where it's been colonized to resemble a very primitive version of Earth. We then have it where it begins to evolve into cities, and then eventually we also discuss things like gentrification. So it's a very interesting story thematically, especially seeing the evolution of this planet over thousands of years. I just think that it could have been handled better. The first vlog that I filmed throughout the month of June was my spinner wheel vlog, and I ended up with only 2 spins but 3 books, and that is because we got a series. So the series that I ended up reading was the Serpent Gates series by A.K. Larkwood, which consists of The Unspoken Name and The Thousand Eyes, and this series is one that absolutely took me by storm. I was shocked at how much I enjoyed it because I'd heard lots of people talk about the existence of the series, but I hadn't really heard anyone talk about their experience reading it. So I went in with not very many expectations at all and ended up really loving it. This has a very Norse inspired vibe. We are following a priestess who is part of this kind of cult of people who sacrifice someone to be the bride of a god, and she is going to be the one that's going to be sacrificed. A mage comes along and says, you know, you could just come with me instead. And we have this toxic relationship that she has with this wizard because she feels indebted to him. We see the way that the world begins to unfold, and it's got a lot more politics in it than I thought it would. It was a very interesting take on religious cults, etc. I had a great time with it. It's sapphic as well. Yeah, I would recommend checking this out. It was probably my highlight of the month when I first got to it. I really enjoyed it. Another book that I read for the spinner wheel was A Rival Most Vile, and this was a shame really because I really wanted to like this book. It's the kind of cozy fantasy that doesn't work for me because it's basically a contemporary story in a fantasy setting, which is perfectly fine. I understand its place. It just doesn't work for me because I always find with contemporary, the reason that I enjoy them is because they're really, really pacey. I don't need to think. I don't need to imagine anything. Like, I know what New York City looks like. While with a fantasy, I really like there to be rich world building, and I find that a cozy fantasy of this caliber, while it would work for people who don't like contemporary, for me, I'm not getting enough of either. I'm having to put too much work in when it comes to imagination and understanding the world and blah 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 that you don't get from contemporaries, where you can just easy breezy your way through it. But I'm not getting enough depth that I feel like, yes, this is a worthwhile investment of my energy into learning about this new world. So they just don't work for me. This is a rival potions shops. You have one where the guy is like really good at potions but not very good at socializing. You have one where the guy is really charismatic charismatic, but his potions are shit. They are opposite each other, and then it's like a rivals to lovers thing. And the ending is incredibly predictable. So it just didn't really fulfill anything for me. It was fine. It was a decent enough writing style. I don't have a huge problem with it. I'm never going to think about it again. And until looking up to double check that I wasn't missing anything, I had forgotten I'd read this. The next vlog that I put up was my Jane Austen vlog. I managed to make my way through all of the works of Jane Austen. I do have the vlog separated into sections per book, including talking about some of the adaptations. So if you want my thoughts on any of those, it is entirely spoiler free. I'll leave it linked down below. I did really enjoy my time with this. I have not really changed my thoughts on any of the books. Like, they're ones that I have read quite a few times. I actually think that the only time that I really did appreciate something was because I reread Lady Susan, which I hadn't read for a really long time, and also having read Sanditon and then watching Sanditon was quite an interesting experience, so that was good. And then yes, like just finding some new adaptations to watch was very entertaining. I read these throughout the entire month until I went on holiday on the 19th, so it was 19 days of just chipping away at Jane Austen books, which was great fun, and I really loved it. And they're all 5 stars. I love everything Jane Austen writes. She's one of my all-time favorite authors, and nothing's going to change that. So not a huge amount of thought, but I did read them all. So I read, let's go through them. These are completely out of order. I read Lady Susan, The Watsons, and Sanditon, which are her unfinished works and her novella. I read Northanger Abbey, Sense and Sensibility, Persuasion, Emma, Mansfield Park, and Pride and Prejudice. The next vlog that I filmed was my romance vlog. I read some sapphic romances for Pride Month. I always am trying to make my way through some more romances. It's the genre that I'm focusing on this year to see what I do and don't like within the genre. I ended up reading 3 books and DNFing 1. So the one that I DNF'd was The Stars Too Fondly by Emily Hamilton. I couldn't get into it, and that's fine. It's a sci-fi anyway, so it didn't really fit the vlog all that much, but it was fine. I didn't dislike it. I just wish that I had liked it more. It was one that was sapphic, it was sci-fi. I thought it was going to be fun, but it mentions TikTok, even though it's set like 100 years in the future, and I can't. Nothing has that level of permanence when it comes to social media. Look at MySpace, you know, like it's in the graveyard of social medias now. I got a few chapters in and I thought, there's no point. I'm just going to criticize this book for being what it intended to be. Like, it's not the book's problem. So I just stopped reading it. So I'm not even going to bother talking about that one. I did read Bitterthorn, which I did enjoy. I did like Bitterthorn. That one got 3 stars. It's very uprooted coded, and it is basically, you know, this girl gets taken away by a witch to be the witch's companion. She's kind of fine with it because she's got really nothing left to lose anyway, and it kind of goes from there. And I was fine with it. I just wanted to be more invested in it, and I did kind of mentally keep comparing it to Uprooted, and Uprooted just came out on top. I'm not going to think about it very much. I thought it was really well written. I thought that the story beats were interesting. I don't think it did anything hugely unique, and again, I just don't think I'm going to think about it very much. The 4-star read that I had was The Honey Witch by Sydney J. Shields. Now, the 2 higher end of this vlog are me, because I know a lot of people didn't like these 2 books that I am going to talk about. They were very, very hyped releases, and a lot of people didn't like them. This one is very Regency coded, which is why I love it. In this story, we are following our protagonist who doesn't really want to marry a man in this Regency era. So her grandmother says, well, you can come with me and you can become the next Honey Witch. But being a Honey Witch means that you are not allowed to fall in love. And our protagonist is like, okay, that's fantastic. Only then she falls in love with a girl, and it turns out she was just a lesbian, and that's why she wasn't interested in the men that were courting her. But if she falls in love, then the person she falls in love with will die. So we have kind of this curse on it, and yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed myself. Like, is it the best thing ever written? No. Is it hugely innovative? No. Was it a fucking brilliant time? Yes, it was. And another one where I can understand why people hate this. I can understand why you would like DNF this, give it 2 stars. I understand. I do. 5 stars from me. Flipping loved it. Phoenix Keeper. This is another one that's sapphic. Like, this is petty. This is catty. This is bitchy, but I loved it. In it, we are following our protagonist, who is the Phoenix Keeper, and she wants to keep her phoenix. A neighboring zoo has lost their female phoenix, and they want to transfer her phoenix to that other zoo, which means that she'd basically be out of a job, and she doesn't get to care for the phoenix that she loves. However, she knows that the females are normally the ones that are territorial, and it's the males that come to the females. So she is saying that zoo should be bringing they're Phoenix here. But they're like, yeah, but their expo gets them a lot more money than our expo gets us. And then she has to up her game with her expo, which means that she needs to work with her university rival, who is the head of the Griffins. And it's a romance between the two, and it was fantastic. I loved it. I loved it for all the wrong reasons, but I absolutely loved it. I had a great time with it. This book could have hit me in the face and I would have said thank you. It's just one of those times. And the last two vlogs that I had were while I was traveling in the UK. The first one, because I was down south and I was still in my Jane Austen era, I read Longbourn by Joe Barker, and I did not like this. I didn't like this book at all. I have the vlog either coming or it's already up. I don't know what order these are being posted in yet, but I did not like this book. I won't go too in depth with it in case you haven't seen the vlog, but I had so many problems with the way that the original characters are represented. But mostly my biggest problem is that this book focuses so much on lower class misery that it, I think, is a disservice to people in the lower classes. I think if you focus on lower class people's lives, their sole existence being entirely miserable, undermines their willpower and their reasons to stay alive. It undermines their lives, their ability to still love, to persevere. And I found that very frustrating. And it's something that we see a lot when we talk about the lower classes. And it's like, it's so depressing, and it's needlessly depressing almost. Like, you can highlight how difficult life was without almost invalidating these people's existence. Now, we do have a happy ending. I don't know if you consider that a spoiler. We do have a somewhat happy ending. I just don't think that it came in soon enough or strong enough for all of the level of misery that we were subjected to throughout the majority of the book. And the other one that I read when I was in the UK, which I read on the very last day of the month, is Queen Bee by Juno Dawson. Yes, I know this is part of a series, but it is a prequel, so I figured it was fine. I read this when I went to Warwick Castle, because in Warwick Castle there is an expo dedicated to Henry VIII, because he visited it a few times, and anywhere that Henry VIII has been, you get a Henry VIII expo. So I thought, well, fuck Henry, I'll read about Anne instead. And that's exactly what I did. This is sapphic. This is a witchy story. It's pitching Anne Boleyn as a witch, and that she's the one that initially founded the Her Majesty's Royal Coven, which is then the basis of the rest of the series. I really enjoyed this. I didn't connect with the protagonist as much as I would like, hence why it's got 4 stars. I think the character is kind of there to be more of a self-insert, but I loved the way that they depicted Anne. I loved the way that a load of the other women were depicted, and I wouldn't mind being part of this coven, not gonna lie. And there you have it. Those are all the books that I read in June. There's a lot, especially given that I was holidaying, but I think it was a really good balance of different things that I was reading, different moods that I was in, trying different genres, some rereads with the Jane Austens, and overall it was banging month. I had a great time, and even though I've got a DNF and a couple of like more disappointing or at least forgettable reads in there, overall I still think it was really solid reading month. So in the comments down below, let me know what your best book in the month of June was, and if you've read any of these, your thoughts on them, or based on my liking of these, if you have any other recommendations for me. But that is all from me for today, so thank you ever so much for watching, and I will hopefully catch you in another one soon.